And now our feature presentation.
Let's spin this new shit!
Hello and welcome to the CloudsDale Cafe. I am your host, Ragin Host with Most. We have Nick, the Canadian Blizzard.
Jimmy Joe J's.
We have Jimmy Joe James is joining us tonight. We have Cinnamon Top, aka Steampunk Scootaloo.
Feeling very abysmal.
Yes, you are. We have Classy or Tommy.
Tommy!
Yes. We also have the wonderful guest, Zedrin. Or Zedrin, yes. Sorry.
Hello.
And tonight we are pretty much going to talk about nothing. And other than that, before the show, we had something going on. But other than that, we also have Shadow and blah, blah, blah. Everybody else that you don't care about right now, but what's going on?
Wow, that's
so right now, let's start the show and topics.
You heard it here first from the host himself. No one cares about Shadow.
Everybody loves Shadow.
No, Shadow is very appreciated here. And we love
I'm
him.
the host, Ice.
And
We've got that quote recorded.
I included like two other people. I discluded, or whatever the word is, two other people.
We have a lot of people working for us.
You're very busy
anyway,
and not making money. They don't feed me. I do feed you. I do feed you, Shadow. It's okay.
All right. So before we
blessing.
start anything, I guess the first thing we should do is, I don't know, talk about our promos. So yeah, this episode is actually brought to you by the people from the CloudsDale.org, which is a little website in which you can chat around people and such. Here's a link to it right there on the little taskbar thingy.
Right there.
And the link is also in the description.
And yes, in YouTube, if you look down from watching us right now or listening to us, in the description of YouTube, you will see a link to this. Go check us out. We actually have a little cloud. That's what they like to call them. They are separated by clouds. And you can talk to us not on when we're, when we're not doing our shows. During the week when we actually have lives.
Yeah. I usually work
we
there.
Have lives besides this show? Shocking.
Oh,
Go check them out. The guys are
shocking.
Yeah.
We talked to the guy who runs it. Real cool dude. Sometimes watches our show. So give him a shout out for us and tell him that we sent you. And go join a cloud and go talk to some people.
I know Shadow.
I know Shadow.
Shadow.
Some people are saying that they can't hear the audio.
I know. This is really
Keep
annoying
rolling
because
with
it's
it.
saying perfect streaming. And it always
don't worry
does
about
this
it.
to me.
Let's
Just
Okay.
shut. But
no,
other
that's
than that,
Procaster being a butt.
Yeah.
yes, Procaster likes to be a butt, and I'm really getting tired of it. And we are probably going to move on to something else very soon with livestream,
I'd recommend
because
XSplit.
livestream doesn't know. What do you recommend?
Livestream
XSplit.
sucks mega dicks.
Yeah, it's horrible. It's horrendous.
But what did you recommend though? I think that was Zedrin.
I'd recommend XSplit. It's a lot more
XSplit.
reliable than Procaster.
Yeah, like I was thinking of switching to that. The thing is though,
That's what I use now.
The thing is though, when I started using it, I ended up throwing my computer back to factory condition. Completely forgot about it until you started talking about it. I was planning on using it, but then I ended up losing it. Ugh.
It's a pain in the ass to set up, but it's worth it. It's a lot more reliable.
Yeah.
We will look into that, and thank you for giving us it, because
Thank you.
I'm literally done with this thing because it's been fucking us over for the past couple shows. It's really not been wanting to record Nick at all, and it's just been crashing and just being a butt pretty much. So I think we are going to say goodbye to livestream and move on to something else a little bit better.
Well, we're
No,
still
actually,
using live.
Not livestream. XSplit can work with livestream.
Yeah, we'll be.
Oh, it
Exactly.
does?
XSplit.
Oh, really? I thought it was a totally separate.
It's not a
program.
separate website.
No. It links up with your live stream account and it lets you stream from there, but not using Procaster. So it's the best of both worlds.
Like Procaster is the thing that's really screwing me over. It's not live stream, unless it is live stream for some reason.
It's not livestream. It's Procaster. Procaster's a piece of junk.
No,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't even know how people waste money, because people pay a lot of money for to be like a pro account Procaster, and
It's gotta be
I'd say
better
it's
quality or
garbage.
something.
They probably
get better quality. It's like we're getting the shaft end of the stick or something. Whatever the saying is. Because we're getting shit really, but probably once they pay it, they're probably getting like really good quality. They're able to do stuff. It's kind of like fraps, you know. If you just get the demo, it's shit. But if you buy it, it's really good. So it probably works like that.
All time.
We're also still looking for editors to work on our show. There is a little post on Tumblr that kind of explains how the process of applying and all of the things that you should know before you should apply for the job. Most importantly, you won't exactly be paid. We need somebody to help us out for certain things that we want to get done, certain projects. But these are things that were kind of left on the wraps for later because we can't really deal with all that workflow. So we need at least one editor, and you have to be proficient in Sony Vegas Pro or After Effects, whichever. And yeah, you can contact us through our Gmail, which should be popping up in the live stream anytime soon. And the Gmail is also in our description for anybody who's listening on YouTube. So if you are an editor or have a certain knowledge in editing, you should definitely contact us, and we will spot you in for an interview and see if you can make it to be part of our little team. So yeah, that's it for public service announcements.
Yeah, let's get to interesting
Public
stuff
service,
because I'm bored.
I know, because people are probably
Of
tired
course.
of going, oh god, why are they talking about technical shit? I came here to listen to them talk about ponies and stuff like that.
I came here
yeah.
to talk about Twilight Alicorn. Alicorn Twilight.
No, I did not want to talk
Alicorn.
about this. This is bullshit.
I'm excited.
Personally, I'm a little excited, but personally, they're doing this just for toys. They're really going to do this for toys. Unless, the only thing I'm going to be mad about is if they make this permanent. If it's permanent, I'm not going to be happy with it. If it's only for this episode, I'll be fine.
Well, I can tell
I could
you right
tell
now,
us.
it's probably going to be permanent.
But why would it be permanent? So
In fact, actually,
slowly,
not
are they
probably.
going to...
I can basically confirm that it's going to be permanent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
It opens
I think
up story possibilities, but it's going to be lacking in some because they're going to be like episodes where she tries to learn how to fly and blah 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 and all that stuff. It's like, oh god damn it.
Here's the better thing to do. It's kind of better to just sit back and go along with the ride because that's what I've been doing this entire time. This is a show made for little girls. I'm not expecting them to make it perfect every single time. I like the writers.
Yeah, like. I really want to see what they do with the writing with this because it opens up so many different doors to like what it can be. If they screw that up, then yeah, I'll be ticked off. But if they do it well, then more power to them.
Yeah, like if they do it bad, like how they did with the season opener, then yeah, I'll be mad.
Bad.
well,
Yeah,
okay,
how they made the villain, it was bad. That's
Who
all I
knows?
have to say.
May might come back in season 4.
yes, Sombra. Sombra was
Season
just
4.
yeah. Sombra was really he lacks. It was a villain that lacked. But
Actually, on that note, I don't know if this is true or not, but I actually remember hearing something that Sombra actually originally had a lot of development behind him and like a lot of backstory, but they had to cut out so much of it because they were short on time. And they cut it down so much to the point where they realized, well, we don't have enough space to develop this character, so we're just going to make him appear and not going to give him a personality.
Oh,
yeah,
that sucks.
I wish they gave a better explanation behind him. They just said, "Oh, he was a ruler of an empire."
One note that is positive on that, though, because he's so much of a blank slate. There's a lot of opportunities for like the fandom to kind of come up with interpretations. And my studio, we're actually playing an animation over the summer that actually is involving him, Luna, and Celestia, and kind of like follow the Crystal Empire. So that's something to look forward to.
Somebody actually made something on Tumblr that I saw that, and it involved pretty much a lot of the major characters, and like it came out the day after Discord's episode, and what it talked about was how Celestia and Discord were kind of like really close to each other, and Luna was jealous, and he kind of set something up with King Sombra, and like to make him jealous, and Discord felt like betrayed, and that's why Discord's evil. And
I guess that's non-canon.
It was non-canon, but it actually kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't know.
the thing is, Discord is assumed to be many, many years before Sombra. And then
Yeah, of course.
Sombra and Nightmare Moon both happened both immediately after one another. And so like the interpretation that I'm going with actually not only explains how the Crystal Empire fell in like the battle, but it also would describe kind of like where Nightmare Moon also came from through the same means, and just be. I don't want to spoil it at all, but that'll be cool.
Yeah. I think one of the biggest issues that right now why the fandom is all acting up like it is, I mean, the writers and the people who work on the show should have never thrown a bone to the Bronies. I mean, seriously, we have nothing to claim to them, nor any expectation, nor to expect anything from the writers or people who work for. We just like the show, and that's it. That's the relationship that we used to have. But now, since the creators are kind of getting a little bit too close to us, things are starting to, kind of go a little bit sour. The same thing happened with Blizzard when they're trying to get closer to their fans and players to see how they can improve their game. And at the end of the day, it just made a complete disaster because every time they do any updates, those updates would be so one-sided that no one was happy. The developers weren't happy. They were stressed out. And everybody who was playing were just, they're just not enjoying themselves. And I think what we should do is just chillax, like Zedrin said, lay back and just let it flow. And if it's good, then it's good. And if it's not, well, whatever. Just keep going with it. You don't have to broadcast to the rest of the humanity how everything is going to end or become some sort of doomsday prophet. I despise that attitude.
So,
it's more an issue with entitlement complexes.
Yeah.
Really. Bronies don't really have any claims to this show, as you said.
So, but they did kind of throw a bone into it, they did, and it kind of, I don't want to say backfire, but everybody's now saying fan pandering. That's all they're saying. They're trying to what the studio was trying to do for a while was trying to please us, like what we kind of wanted, which I didn't really want. The major thing I didn't like is that they took Derpy away, but they're saying they're bringing her back, which is just a rumor, and we don't know yet. I would like to see her back as just a background. I really would. That's all I really enjoyed. It was kind of cool to hear her talk, but I'd rather have her as a background and just be like, oh, there she is, cool, and then move on, with the show.
You were saying something, Nick?
Back to the Alicorn thing. When dealing with fan reaction and stuff like that, I absolutely hated the fan reaction because they were sending hate mail to Lauren Faust. To all people.
She's not even
there anymore.
She's not even working on
that
show.
Here's something that will forever remain true. The worst part of any following is its fandom. And I mean, that's going to prove itself whenever it has a chance.
I've seen this one picture. It was kind of like a joke, but it's still pretty true. It was saying that I forget what the picture was, but the captions where it's fandoms are smart. They make music. They make yada yada yada. But he's saying no, fans are smart. Fandoms are ravenous and crazy.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
I think as individuals, if you look at the fandom in objectively with individuals, then you can start seeing how good fandom can be. But if you start seeing the macro, if I use that term, the whole scheme of things, then you just see this jumble mess of things and opinions, and it just becomes awful. And I guess that's most fandoms how they kind of operate, because people are very zealous of what they like, and a lot of discussion and a lot of things go on, and so I don't know. I guess we should just put fate on the writers and
but sorry, but Switchboard 505 in the chat says it was a changed quote from Men in Black, which is right. The picture was of the two characters, I forget their names now, talking about it. That's what the picture was.
Okay.
But this whole Alicorn thing, personally, I hope it's not permanent. If it's permanent, I'm going to be a little butthurt about it. I'll get over it and enjoy the show like I should. And that's what everybody else should do, is enjoy the show, be a little butthurt about it. If you don't like it, be a little butthurt, move on with it, because she's still going to be the same old Twilight. Maybe
here's the thing. I think I know why Hasbro announced this so early. For the record, the Alicorn Twilight thing is not a spoiler anymore. It is.
No.
It's they want people
unless
to know
you live under a rock.
part of the reason why they want people to know about it is so that way they can adjust to the idea of it. So they're basically revealing it early on, so that way people won't be freaking out when the episode.
Basically, spoon feeding us the alicorn thing.
They're allowing you to go through the 5 stages of grief before you've even experienced it.
Cry, bitch about it, and all that. It's like a relationship breakup. You're gonna bitch and cry about it, and blah blah blah, and you'll get over it and move on. And that's what everybody should do.
It's like as Emmy Larson stated. It's like the first stage is denial. Second stage is like grief. Third stage is bargaining, etc. And then there's a 6th stage, watching the actual episode.
Yeah.
Sure,
Wasn't that the one that you just there was one that you were like be freaking angry, and then you barter, and then you just and then you go to depression.
It's like,
and then you just accept it.
Yeah, it's like anger, denial, depression, bargaining, acceptance.
Yeah. Dang. Well, that's kind of a dreary subject, but let's move to something more happier.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
No, it won't be.
Yeah. Well, up until now, there hasn't been anything really interesting going on, in at least like in general terms of the fan. Don't worry about the show. Yeah, there's really nothing to talk about really. If I want to like scroll through some news here to see if there's anything relevant to discuss.
There really isn't, but other than that, I mean, the biggest topic has to be the Alicorn thing, and people the biggest problem with it is people sending hate mail to Lauren Foss. That's just wrong because she doesn't work there anymore. She started it, but she didn't. She's not working there. And
Lauren Foss, take back show from Hasbro and make it cancel because she don't like what they do, so she make Magic Horn go bye bye.
Yeah, stuff like that.
But yeah, like
but
kind of like reading back on it, they were saying like people were saying that she has absolutely like no more control over the show anymore. She doesn't even watch the show because it's not what she intended it to be. She had a completely different plan for Twilight, and like she had to fight for what she got in season 1. Like she originally wanted, like one of the things that she originally wanted was Celestia to be a queen rather than a princess, but because it's a show for little girls, banned. Princess.
Yeah. Well, I guess another subject that's kind of interesting is that Hasbro is updating their YouTube shop. It's like you can buy off episodes from YouTube through their channel. I don't know how that exactly works, and I don't know how profitable is that, but
yeah.
I've seen that before. I've seen that before with Cartoon Network doing that with Adventure Time. I was trying to watch some Adventure Time episodes on YouTube, and it doesn't really work that well because you have to pay for it, and I don't trust putting money into YouTube. I really don't trust that, and it's not really gonna work because there are other ways to get episodes for free if it's downloaded or by websites, other like TV show websites. That's the only place. It's also depends on quality. If you want to get it at the best quality, you got to go to certain places. But some people just stream it right off the TV, and off HD, and then they can just convert it onto YouTube. It's not that hard. Unless the biggest problem is with this is that YouTube will actually start, putting copyright for all the episodes. And that's going to they're going to make a very big mistake with that because they will lose a lot of people watching that. They will go to other places to watch it because YouTube is the biggest thing right now. If Hasbro will kick themselves if they make a bad decision through copywriting the YouTube episodes and start taking our how we watch the show and how we do things away. Because they just want to be money grubbers. I mean, they're going to be making more money this way than if they were to take it away. If they took, if they started taking our rights away, then they're going to lose money.
Okay, exactly. What kind of rights do we have? I don't know. That's their show. They can do whatever they want with it, and they can sell it as many times in any way they can think of. So,
like, look at Disney.
In my view, Yeah, they'll have. This is just business, man, and they're a company, and they'll market their product and their name any way they want to. And I don't know. This is another way of marketing. I don't know. I pay for Netflix, and already season 3 it's being updated on Netflix. So I don't really know what's much of the problem is, but whatever. What right? As a fan, I don't think I have any rights.
Well, I'm not saying that we have rights in general, but we should have a little bit of rights to watch our shows kind of freely without, being, them, jumping on us. But like I said, if we lose that right to watch the show freely, like on YouTube or something, that's gonna hurt. It can hurt the community wise because YouTube is the biggest place where we actually watch our stuff. Like if they start, blocking the music and the PMVs and stuff like that, that's going to be a big hurt on the community if you think about it.
They're not going to block the music. They might block a couple PMVs, but they'll never get down to half the PMVs in this fandom because half of them don't get enough views to actually step out of the brewing community and actually start putting let's take Bronyvid's I don't even know what it was. It was the green and purple, his parody of 420, all the 420 shit. That video puts a really negative light on the show, and they would ban that if it actually had enough views to step outside the Brony fandom and put a negative light on the show from people who don't actually watch. From people who don't actually watch and don't know the fandom, have no idea what's going on. They might think Hasbro condones that, but it doesn't have the views to actually reach that far out. So they won't. It's very unlikely they'll ban many PMVs. They won't ban music because they're not gonna ban people because they said Twilight in a song.
Well,
they banned Friendship is with Witchcraft, and they banned what's it called? Mentally advanced. Yeah, they banned the mentally advanced series because they were so well made, and they were like take the audio away, and they are literally just the episodes up there, free to watch.
Tommy, let him speak.
Honestly, when it comes down to the Friendship is Witchcraft and such, honestly, that is mostly done through YouTube's content sense matching. Hasbro really did not have as much of a say. They didn't really have much of a hand in that. What it is an ID basically winds up getting assigned to the YouTube video format for the episode, and YouTube takes that ID and winds up matching it up to anything it can find and then takes that down. It wound up matching up clips from Witchcraft and Advanced series and wound up finding similarities between them and the episodes itself, and so it assumed that they were actually just uploadings of the episode. They did not. YouTube doesn't know that those are actually, technically for all intents and purposes, those are fair use. However, whenever they try to submit a counterclaim, they wind up getting YouTube basically copy-pasting the same message and saying, nope, can't do that. YouTube hasn't even forwarded the message to Hasbro at all. Hasbro hasn't even seen the counterclaims that they've tried sending in. That's literally how it's played out so far, from everything that I've read. Hasbro doesn't have any part in it.
So YouTube is just
YouTube being YouTube.
About.
YouTube is mostly ran by robots.
Yeah, man. It's like there's not like a huge office full of people looking at every single video before they actually manage to YouTube. Like they just, and since everything is in Google and everything is traceable in Google, and through codes and stuff, even pictures can be traceable.
When it comes down to it, unless you have a lawyer, YouTube most likely they're going to say like, well, there'd be a risk involved if this came to a legal dispute. I don't want to deal with it. So the person behind the desk has to basically just copy paste the same email back out. And it's a really tedious job.
It's all just really complicated stuff. So when a mentally advanced series ended up doing just finding a completely new player for it. So like you can find
like
all the
Blip
episodes
or something.
Yeah, it's Blip, I think. Yeah. So they pretty much set
No,
it up.
they weren't able to get on Flip. They do have it actually on their own website, donsomewhere.com, if you guys want to check that out.
Oh, okay.
Friendship Witchcraft has something. Friendship is Witchcraft is doing something similar. I think it's Sherclop Hones. .net or something.
Yeah. Oh, Vimeo.
But both of them are both available.
Yeah, like they're pretty much using different video providers instead of YouTube now. Yeah.
You were gonna say something, Nick? Well, no. You were gonna say something.
Oh, I said what I said. Or said what I meant to say.
But yeah, I think we have already passed the 30-minute mark, so it would be a good time to start the interview.
Nice interruption, huh?
What?
For that, but well, yeah, there is nothing really to talk about. We've already covered everything because it's just everybody's being butthurt lately about it, like YouTube, and everybody's like, meh, meh, meh. But it's phases, really.
People just need to go with the flow.
Yeah, really,
Yeah.
people really do.
I was kind of, when I first heard Twilight was mean that, I was like, come on, really? But then slowly I'm starting to just say, you know what, fuck it. I'll just enjoy the show no matter what. It's
I don't even care anymore. I don't even care
I want
anymore.
to see what they do.
Yeah.
I'll judge after.
I really
Yeah.
kind of want to see what they do, but I'll be, like I said before, I'll be butthurt if it's permanent.
Judge it in
but I'll move on.
silence.
Judge it in silent,
silent.
move on, and we'll go on. Moving on. But
Just
let's
like
get
how
on
we-
with this interview, because everybody's probably been hanging out for that. But, so, we are interviewing Zedrin. He's got so much stuff, it's ridiculous. You're an artist, you run a Tumblr. How many Tumblrs? 1 or 2?
I run 2 Ask blogs, being Ask Mafia Octavia, and I run Dream Warden, which is about Luna basically as a warrior, and she's walking through people's dreams and fighting their nightmares. And then I also run I also recently started up a art critique blog as well, which is my little art critiques. If anybody's curious about that.
Stuff. Post links, we'll post it for you. But, yes. But you're also an animator, too.
Yep,
and have a studio and everything.
I'm the animation director for Silly Philly Studios, which a good portion of them are in the right now.
They're judging.
Yes. But we've so far released, I think we've released about 5 videos so far, 2 of which were just promos, but if you've seen Daylight's End, that was my work. Twilight the Unicorn was by our animator named Adam. And then also we animated Luna's Cutie Mark, and we're currently working on our production called Snowdrop, which should be done within a month or 2.
Like, I'm gonna admit, and I might have seen some of your animation, but I don't remember. It might have been a while back, and that's bad for me, for a host, not knowing anything. Well, not that much about our artists, but like our guests, but like, how long have you been doing animation wise though?
I've actually only been doing it steadily for about a year. I got started after I learned it. I had learned animation through some tutorials posted by Oni NG, also known as Chris O'Neill. He's the guy who does Leo and Satan, and also Hellbenders. But he made a few tutorials which really helped me get started, and then I've kind of been animating since then. The first project that I got involved with was Project Saturation, which it was the fandom's first attempt at a movie. And that, I had a feeling it probably wasn't going to go very well, but I figured that it'd give me the resources, the training, and also the contacts, and that'd be necessary to make animations and such. And lo and behold, a while later, we wound up founding our studio, Silly Philly Studios, after Saturation kind of broke off.
Nice.
Yeah, and like when you mentioned Hellbenders and stuff and that guy, I'm like, we watch a little bit too much of that.
Yeah, that would be. Yeah,
because
you got guys like
God,
when
help
you
us.
working there.
Hey, the screenplays. How about Blue?
Oh,
We're
Yeah.
Blue flavor.
thanks, Jupiter. But
well done.
Other than that,
boys.
we
You
are-
saved Christmas. Also, I'm Jesus.
Thanks,
Hi, Jesus.
Jupiter. Jesus.
I think we do too much of that. Sounds just way too much. But that's just how we roll. But other than that,
If you guys know
like,
who-
what type of
Go on.
Oh,
Say
you
something
go
and stay
on.
quiet.
You
course.
go on. I demand or
Alright.
insist.
Well, I was just gonna say, if you guys know who Will Draw for Food is, he can do so many impressions, and Hellbenders are included.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. I do recognize that
We've tried
name,
our-
Will Draw for Food.
I've heard of
He's
that too.
Ask Surprise.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, now I know. Who
Thank
it is,
you.
Yeah. He's friends with UC7 or Hot Blooded, for those that don't know. But other than that, I love the Ask Surprise blog. I love it. Hasn't updated recently, but I love it.
Oh,
But what type of animation like do you use? Is it like puppet? Like, worst example like is Brony Dance Party.
Yep.
I use puppet-based animation.
That's not start.
I've messed around with a variety of different animations. In fact, the reason why I was able to pick up Flash so quickly is because I had done 3D animation in the past. So I was able to carry over some principles from that into this. I've experimented a little bit with frame by frame. It's not my forte. I'm best when it comes to using puppet sets and manipulating those. And I'm proud to say that we actually use our own puppet sets that are completely originally designed. Zwivel and HC, two of our members, did a lot of the vector work for that. I've done a good chunk of the vector work, so has Jade, and a few of our other artists. So we're using our own original puppet sets. We're not using like double rain booms.
Oh, okay.
And also, I think we're also the only ones who really have a fully completed Luna and Celestia puppet as well.
Oh wow.
Which those have a year into their production so far. Like I started on like last year.
In terms of your animations, what would you say would be the most difficult thing to animate?
Honestly, most action comes off really difficult, especially when it's really dynamic action. I actually have a friend named Johannes, he's the guy who did the My Little Dota 2 animation. If you guys had seen that.
Oh yeah, I've seen that one.
He's also done he's also done the short animations about Portal. Not the one that's the series, the continual series, but the ones that's just like the short little ones. He's really good when it comes to action and such. But
all right.
That's probably the hardest things to animate. And also sometimes composition. If you have a lot of symbols on screen, it just goes really slow.
Okay. Wow.
Yeah, I mean, we're not fans of, let's say, Dawn's Dusk. Really.
Oh yeah, Dawn's Dusk isn't really a good example. That's kind of like
not.
Those guys. Really, the only claim they can make is they made a 20-minute animated cartoon. It wasn't really that good quality because they didn't have enough training to use Flash when they started it, and also they didn't put enough work into it. I mean, long stuff, Flash, it's kind of exponential. The longer it is, it gets exponentially harder.
Yeah.
You really have to like learn how to piece it up and such.
Well, what would be your professional critique? I want to hear your professional critique and view about that animation, because it has been a very talked about and very digest topic in this podcast, and you as an animator, that you pretty much know that craft. I want to see your honest views of that.
I don't know how much I can say that's not already known. It mostly was, I think most of their issues was they didn't put enough forethought into a lot of it. Where like, for instance, like the voice acting, it doesn't seem like they went with multiple takes and refinement of the voice acting. They kind of just went with the first take each time. And that's why in some cases, some of the VAs, they kind of fell short, or they weren't understandable, or they didn't have the right emotion. As far as the animation went itself, as I said, this was their very first project, so I can't really rip on them too much for that. I think their ambitions got a little bit bigger than their skills, but you notice some things where like characters aren't like in proper perspective, backgrounds are lacking, walk cycles don't have transitions to stops, stuff like that.
All right,
but I think it's okay. It's okay animation wise. Some of it, it's like it's just you're looking at it, it's just going, it's bad. But I think the worst about it is the voice acting. There's no good voice acting, and they're using other people with very, very, very strong what's the word? But not accents. I said dialect, but
as far as the animation goes, a lot of it for them, their lip syncing was all right. But a lot of the animation itself, and their storyboards actually, looking at their storyboards, those are really good.
Oh, really?
But their animations, most of them were just pre-compiled animations. They didn't do much movement on their own. Like most of it was just walk cycles from the double rainbow puppets, or fires that had been ripped from other animations for effects.
So
there wasn't really much.
Basically
they're just
zero quality right there.
Yeah, they just ripped off other people to get
And I mean,
what they want.
Dusk's Dawn is actually a really good example of what you can notice when stuff is missing from animations, because when you have a character moving, you're going to have stuff like recoil, sways.
In-betweens.
Not even just in-betweens, just like bounces and motions and like squashes, stuff like that, where the character will kind of like move and change shape very subtly to make them look like they move around. And Dusk's Dawn, because they don't have those things, you do notice it more. The hard part is that when you do have those things in the animation, you don't notice them unless they're too exaggerated. You only notice them when they're either too much or they're not there at all.
Yeah. I noticed like in the an example of that when they kind of warped. Sometimes some animators kind of warp the characters a little bit just to create a more natural or make the animation sort of complete and believable. And I think like almost at the end of that animation from the Brony doc, where Tara Strong kind of goes into the table, and she moves around. Her face kind of starts fluctuating, and the animation starts to warp, and that's something really odd. And I don't know, it's like when you're trying to make something more fluid, you end up making it look warped, and it looks kind of weird.
Well, part of the issue is they had like 3 animators working on the exact same scene. And so that complicated things. And from what I had heard, some of the animators, they didn't really get along. Like one of them, he really does not like working with others.
Serious problem there.
Yeah.
And when I was looking into it, because I actually watched it several times, and then I did rage about it, and you guys know how bad I raged about it. It was bad. I pretty much put everything. I cannot say anything more about it. The only problem with it is a lot of them are. I'm not gonna. English isn't their first language. 2, a lot of them are not older, and it's like they only know Flash because they took it in high school and stuff like that. So they're like, I can do this.
A lot of the people they had chosen for their VAs for Dusk's Dawn were friends. And it's fine if you have friends who can voice act to use them and give them priority, but you still want to make sure that they can do the voice acting that you require of them. And I mean, if they can't, you can either train them to do so, or it might be better to just bring somebody else onto the team.
Yeah, at least someone to coach, because you always, if you're gonna like have like voices or amateur voice actors, at least have a coach with you or someone who knows how to like make believable voices. Because as an amateur voice actor myself, the most important thing about to be a voice actor is the art of projection. How are you able to convince me that you are this character? And if you don't create that, basically the voice is either bland or it misses something, it's not believable, and it's everything. And I could go on forever about technical things about that, but let's move on to something else.
Yes. I was going to say Brony Dance Party, but I could just say their shit. We'll move on
we can say that for the after show. Say that for the after show.
I'll save it a little bit for the after show, but let's do a next question. So you run a few blogs, pretty much, and I think one of the biggest one has to be Mafia Octavia, correct?
Yep. It's reaching the 4,000 follower mark.
Dang.
Even though it's been in hiatus for like the past month.
Wow.
That's what Tumblr is, baby.
Wow. I can just ask questions about it. Like, biggest question would be like, why Mafia Octavia? Like, why did you go with the Mafia style?
Well, me and my friends of SFS, we often played. We've played. Have you ever played Mafia?
Oh yeah.
Like not the big game, like the game where like you kind of all have to try and guess who's the Mafia member. It's kind of like a tabletop game, or.
Oh, I played something like that.
Oh, I played that too.
It's also sometimes it's called Werewolf.
Maybe I can't remember if this one's similar or if it's the same game. Is it the game where you're all sitting down and there's a cop and then there's the mafia guy, and if he winks at you, you're dead, and you've got to, and the cop has to find the guy that winks.
There's 2 phases.
It's like Guess Who.
The day phase. Night phase, the mafia looks up and they choose who they want to kill. They'll go to bed. Medic will choose who they want to save. They'll go to bed. Cop will choose who he wants to investigate. Then he'll go to bed.
Okay.
And he's investigating the host of the game will basically confirm or deny if somebody's a mafia member. And when everybody wakes up, then the town has to try and decide who they want to lynch and kill because they think they're a mafia member, and anybody can vote. So you don't know if... So when you're trying to kill someone, you got to be careful because you don't want to kill, like, a good guy, but you also want... And you want to try and kill a mafia member. Unless you're a mafia member, then you want to convince them that you're a good guy, and it's all like... It's a game about deception.
Okay.
So anyway...
It's like Trouble in Terrorist Town, it sounds like.
What?
Almost.
No.
No.
Because...
No.
No,
Anyway,
No, Trouble in... No, if you think about it, it is, because you're trying to...
There is no
fool
strategy.
people. Yes, there is. There has to be.
There is
Where?
a strategy to it. It's strategies and deception and such. But anyway,
It's about
I can
lying
go
and
around
telling
shooting
stories in
people
corners.
or just planting
it's
bombs everywhere.
Yeah.
It's about lying and telling
It's
stories
Jungle
and putting
Fest.
bombs in the room.
okay,
That's how it works.
Okay,
enough derailing.
it's not like Trouble in
It's like-
Terrorist Town, that's it.
Okay, enough with the derailing.
Yeah.
Real.
Moving on.
Anyway, based on that, because we had played Mafia a few times, I decided to draw some fan art based on that, and I figured, like, what pony would look good in Mafia attire? Octavia's really great. I'm gonna put her in a fedora and give her a Thompson. And so that spawned a image of fan art that actually got insanely popular. And so after that got popular, I decided, well, this actually would be a cool concept for an Ask blog. So I turned it into an Ask blog, and then it kind of just all tumbled out from there. Started working on coming up with a story and such. And now I just drowned Octavia recently. So there.
Sounds good. I drew Mafia.
Like,
But
so-
I've... Oh,
No,
you want to
sorry.
go, Nick?
I had one question about that. Like, what kind of influences do you have when you're creating the story?
I actually try to pull influence for Mafia Octavia from... I've seen the movie The Untouchables. I haven't actually seen the movie The Godfather series yet. I want to. I still need to. I've also played L.A. Noire, which is where I've gathered some inspiration from. And then I kind of try to base the setting in, like, it's 20s era Prohibition, of course.
Oh yeah.
But it's more like 30s. It's more like 30s era gangsters and mobsters with technology and weapons from the 40s. So kind of like a little blend of all of them.
It's... Yeah. Do you go off by any historical events or any, like, you know, like Al Capone and all them people? Like, do you do anything, like, legit? Like, you try to put it into your story somehow?
A little bit. Kind of like where the Apple family would kind of be like Al Capone, in a sense. To where, basically, their issue that they run into is due to tax evasion and money laundering. And Twilight Sparkle, who's head of the Ponyville PVD, not the LAPD, she's basically trying to pin the mafia for all these mafia dealings and all these murders and such, and she's being completely unsuccessful. Such, because she's looking in the wrong spot.
Okay.
But
Can
I
you
personally
take
like the
other-
Mafia style. It's so much better than a lot of other people. I mean, I've seen gangster, like real, like, you know, homie gangster, like Grove Street style, you know, San Andreas style gangster one, and I was like, no.
Now you gotta have
No,
a
you
suit.
can't. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the only real gangster. Those are the only real gangsters. People today say, yo, man, I'm laying my pants down to my ass. I'm a gangster. You ain't gangster. You'd die. Your entire family would be dead if you, a gangster from today, try to go up against gangsters of the 30s and 40s.
Yeah.
No doubt about it.
Nah, probably no doubt.
There's this
Yeah.
Yo, homie, I'm gonna shoot you with my gun sideways. Okay.
There's this one show
That's
that,
pretty much that's gonna happen.
like there's this one show that was coming out. I think actually it's the series premiere was tonight, but it's called American Gangster. It looks really cool. I don't know anything about it though, but it looks really cool.
Oh, yeah, isn't that
I
about
think that's
the,
actually. I think that's been going on for a while.
Oh, it might have been season.
There's also another one. There's actually another movie coming out that actually looks interesting to me called Gangster Squad,
Gangster
Oh,
Squad.
which is
yeah.
where
Yes.
it's about a cop. He basically brings together a few of his officers and kind of goes underneath the law and forms his own mafia gang to try and take out another mafia gang, so that way he can act outside the law,
Oh,
stuff like that.
Nice.
Yeah, reminiscent to The Untouchables. I haven't really seen that movie. I mean,
Untouchables
The
is good.
Yeah, the Untouchables it actually happened. The Untouchables is a little squad of policemen that just like, you know what? Let's just go around with our shotguns and Thompsons and kill people, and they killed monsters. They killed a lot of monsters. It's pretty crazy. But they were all cops, and they were all kind of doing what they were doing is kind of sketchy. But is there any other like inspirations that you take from Mafia Table? Like anything from that type of culture or pop culture that you kind of want to isolate it and introduce to the blog?
For the most part, it's just based on, as I've said, a few of the Mafia movies that I've seen, and as well as I've said, LA Noire, which I still need to beat that game.
I do
But
too.
for the most part, it's basically whatever I can find and whatever I can learn from. Kind of done a little bit of research here and there.
Next question. Does anyone have it, or like?
Well,
I don't have the
It's-
cheat.
no, I was gonna ask is besides like Mafia, like Octavia and stuff like that, do you plan on doing maybe like another one if you have the time, like another style one, like
Another blog?
Yeah, like another blog, but like a whole new style to it, or would you kind of stay with the Mafia, or would you just move on to
Well, I'm doing
something else?
I do have a secondary blog as well, a second acts blog that just hit 1,000 followers today, called Dream Warden, as I said. Which Dream Warden is about Princess Luna. She's basically, she kind of takes up the mantle of a warrior, and she basically explores people's dreams to try and find any sources of nightmares, because nightmares are basically these creatures from the void that feed off of fear, and when they feed off of enough fear, they can actually tear a rift between the void and the physical world, and can actually enter the physical world, where they can wreak all sorts of havoc, or they can even possess the host that they've used and fed off their fear from. So Luna's basically going around, traveling through the void, traveling through the collective unconscious, and just cutting them to bits.
That actually
Yeah,
sounds
that's
really intense and really cool.
Are you going to in future? Since I've seen the blog, and it's really new, just like a few posts right now. So any ideas that you're trying to work on, like allowing certain creatures to rip through the void?
Well, I actually will have times where like nightmares do break free, just because that's going to create elements of suspense and such. But yeah, there's going to be a lot of stuff going into it. And then when she's not actually fighting stuff, I'll actually have the option of like where she basically explores the dreams of not only her own world but also of worlds throughout the universe, and is able to do like the whole multiverse theory, where she's able to travel to other Tumblr's dreams and such.
Oh, okay.
Cool stuff like that.
Okay.
Like it might be cool to have her travel to like Flutter Guy's dream, and then she helps him, or vice versa. They work together to destroy like a nightmare that's trying to attack Flutter Guy.
Actually,
Yeah,
really
just
like
go around Tumblr and save in people's dreams.
Yep.
So,
It's actually really cool.
like before getting into kind of like the Brony fandom and stuff like that, what kind of other things have you drawn? Yeah.
Yeah, Nick.
I've done a lot of fan art for basically whatever I feel like. I've done a little mini series of, if anybody here has played League of Legends, I have a whole gallery I have 6 images so far dedicated to League of Legends crossover artwork,
Nice.
where I've drawn like Celestia as Leona, Nightmare Moon as Diana. I've basically done a whole lot of clock crossovers. I've even done Chrysalis as like Kha'Zix, which looks freaking badass. And such.
That's actually really cool.
I kind of like a little bit of League of Legends, but it's a little too much for me. People are
It's
like, you're
very
banned. And
competitive.
I'm like, it's a little too competitive on my taste.
Well, you can get banned if you leave game, just by
I know.
leaving.
You're a terrible person for leaving.
Yeah, they could
Dude,
ban
my
you.
house is like burning down. I don't give a shit.
Exactly. It is that, and even if your computer explodes, you can get banned. Next question.
You'll only get banned if it happens repeatedly.
Oh, it's kind of funny. Sorry. What?
Also, it's kind of odd if you're like ahead and then you wind up leaving. Most people will realize, oh, something's going on. Something must have happened to his internet and such.
I have that problem where we play a role-playing server for GTA, and I'll leave if I'll literally leave if I get pulled over by the cops because I don't want to deal with them.
He's a horrible person.
I'm that
You
bad
need
of
a
a
bad for
person.
that.
I know. I've already gotten in jail for 30 minutes for that before.
But anyway, getting on topic again. So, oh, sorry, what? Okay. Well,
Nobody said anything.
well,
God,
anyway,
Nick, you are hearing random people.
I am. Anyway, since you joined Tumblr, like, what kind of things, like, once you started making your blogs, what kind of things did you learn from other people and from people asking questions?
The biggest thing I learned from Tumblr was actually how to draw comics, because comics, like comic drawing and comic art, is different than traditional fan art. It requires a little bit more forethought into it, and also you have to figure out how to kind of simplify it so that way you can draw it out, put it out more quickly. And for Mafia Octavia, for the longest time, I really wasn't putting enough forethought into it, so the posts didn't really have enough quality. And now when it comes to Dream Warden, I have that quality, and I'm able to do like higher quality posts. And when Mafia Octavia starts up again in a week, the posts will look a bit better there as well, and they'll have a little bit more polish to them. As far as like the people and such, I have found that people do tend to go for like the cute or the sexy, quote unquote, shots and panels more often, and also humor tends to go a long way. So I'm rather glad that Mafia Octavia and Dream Warden both, which are both more serious, have kind of gotten pretty nice following.
Like, from what I've seen, like, yeah, humor does go a really long way, but like, yeah, serious blogs also go pretty far as well.
They're kind of few and far between.
Yeah, they are pretty far between. I think like Discord Who's is kind of like a mix between serious and humor, really. The first thing that comes off the top of my head.
Discord Who's is a good example of a serious blog, I'd say.
Yeah, it's a serious dark blog, and it has a little funny moments here and there, but most part is very serious.
Though, like pretty much, I guess that was also kind of advice. But like, what kind of advice do you give to people that like really just want to start picking up a pen and start to draw?
Just go ahead and do it. The best thing about art is not to think about it really. Art, really, when it gets down to it, is kind of more of like, I kind of compare art to like an emotion, if that makes sense. Once you get into the zone, you start thinking less and less about what you're drawing, and you just start doing it. And the less you can think about it, the more natural it will feel. If you're just starting out with art, look up tutorials, look up references and such, and just keep drawing. A lot of people think that they're going to immediately have some amazing skill as soon as they pick up the pen. I've been drawing since I was like 8 years old. I've been drawing digitally since I was 15, 21 now. So I've had a lot of time to practice my trade. And that's the case how it is for most artists. You're not going to be an amazing artist your first time. But really the only difference between a professional artist and a beginner artist is how much time they've put into it. Okay. Both
how much time
overall and on each individual piece.
Kind of like kind of like that of 1,000 failures or like 1,000,000 failures behind you kind of thing. Between
yeah,
it's biggest thing is just to be patient with it. It'll come eventually. And also, another big thing about an upcoming artist: pay attention to critique and don't look at it negatively. In fact, the most negative critiques are going to be the most helpful ones. There's a few websites out there. There's like the MLP Drawing School, which is on Reddit, which is insanely helpful. I've started up a blog, My Little Critiques, which is useful. And there's also, if you're on DeviantArt, you can also open up critiques or ask people to critique your work.
The problem with that, you have to be in premium membership, but yeah.
Well, you can still ask for people to do it in the description. And I also and then people just do it kind of like de facto. I also mention on my journals that I'll critique anything that people want me to.
Okay.
And then I can do it in either note or comments or even on a critique module. Whichever they want.
Okay. So, yeah, I might send something in. But does anyone else want to take the next question, or?
I don't have the questions with me.
Ragin?
Oh, well, how did you get into MLP, really? I just want to figure that out. Because everybody's got their story's different, or most of the time it's interesting.
Well, for me, I was kind of against MLP for the longest time. I had a few friends who kind of would hassle me over it that I was hanging out with at the time, and finally, what wound up happening was my coworker got into it, and she was like talking about how great it was, and she was also one of my best friends. And then also at the time, my girlfriend also got into it around July of 2011, and so after a while, I finally caved and I decided to watch it. And I found this one PMV, which was like the Electro Ponies, which was like the tune goes like, and I was I was just kind of freaking mesmerized by that. And then I saw the whole clip of Fluttershy's cheer from episode 16, season 1, and it's like, oh my god, this is freaking cute. So I decided to watch the entire thing, and it's like, oh shit, I like this show. God damn it. But then I really got involved with the fandom. My girlfriend actually wound up breaking up with me, which left me out $400 around September. Oh. So that kind of stung. But what wound up happening was that was around the time that I first got into Flash, and I actually made a Flash response to GRY's animation, Rarity, or Pinkie found a Grand Am, or Trans Am. And so I made Rarity found an Abrams and put Rarity in a tank barreling down a hill. And because that got so popular, I managed to discover about EQD, I managed to discover about how extensive this fandom was, and I kind of got into the entire thing from there. Then got in contact with Super Mario Galaxy, started Project Saturation, met all my buddies at SFS, and here I am now.
Oh wow!
Making tumblers and talking about ponies and drawing ponies and animation of ponies. It's what people will do nowadays. So people look at us and say we're not normal. We're somewhat a little bit more normal than a lot of people.
Do you get any weird looks when people ask you about, oh, what do you do? And you say, well, I draw Technicolor horses. And sometimes you get paid for it.
I've kind of perfected the art of convincing people that it's all legitimate and all cool. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll just tell them, like, I won't go into details. I'll just say, like, they'll either know about the fandom already and they'll already understand it, or, like, in the case of my mom, I kind of told her, like, it was written by, basically the show was rebooted by Lauren Faust, and they really put a lot of work into it to make it a lot deeper than it is normally. And, like, I basically went into, like, how there's all this fandom behind it and how there's so many more layers to it, where it's not, like, pink little tea parties and all this silly little things anymore. There's a serious side to it that can be expanded on. Or in the case of, like, friends, I'll just show them, like, pictures, like this one, for instance, posted to the live stream, and they'll see how badass it looks, and then I'll be like, yeah, this is pony related, by the way.
Of course, the host, well, you know, the guests have, you know, full rights. If you want to put a link to describe something, then we're all for it.
Yeah.
And wow, that looks really amazing.
But you guys have any more questions before we start up viewer Q&A?
I think I got a few in me. So what you've been in Tumblr like around a lot, and you're really well known and well rounded with the whole Tumblr community and things like that. Can you give us your personal views of what you think about the Tumblr community as a whole?
I really like the Tumblr community a lot. Like, overall, I know Tumblr gets a lot of bad rap for being like social justice or fandom cancer, stuff like that, but all the people I've met through Tumblr have been really cool. Like, for instance, on the screen right now, Soberberry Punch, I found out that he's been running his blog for quite some time, which he actually recently had to restart it because he got hacked. So I'll post that there in a minute. But like, I've met all these different people. Yeah, Soberberry Punch.
Oh, we just
sober.
Yeah. But
yeah, we just
the Tumblr community is really freaking awesome, and it's like there's just like so many different there's like just a whole bunch of different people, and it's like I feel like, I don't know, I think it's made me a little bit more extroverted, to be honest.
Well, what are your things that you just don't like, that just really bugs you, that you want to like express right now?
I think the one thing that bugs me on Tumblr is that it's really easy for drama to spread. Like on EA, when some artist has a problem, the drama usually is relegated to just their profile or their group. When it's on Tumblr, it can really spread like wildfire throughout several areas. It doesn't really happen that much, and I haven't actually seen it happen recently either, so it's not really that big of an issue, I don't think. But when it is an issue, it can really flare up.
Tumblr can be kind of dramatic at times, but it's not as bad as sometimes it can be on Facebook, especially.
Well, that's Facebook. I don't think there's any comparison to Facebook.
That's true.
No.
I'm pretty much moved over from Facebook to here now, to Tumblr. So I was like, yeah. Let's start that Q&A.
Alright, the rules for the Q&A, if you're a regular viewer, you pretty much know what to do. And if you are new, then write your questions in bold and underline. Make sure to put that question mark at the end. And you can basically ask him just about anything, really. But just be prepared that you'll be subjected to direct feedback afterwards. So, yeah.
You will be judged and yelled at.
But I'll probably be the one yelled at, so don't worry about it.
Damn it, Nick.
Yeah.
It's usually what happens.
We will let our sexy female hosts, which I'm talking about Cinnamon and Nick, answer them for you. But
What?
Other than that, yes, we've been having much fun tonight. I've been having a lot of fun. Or that's the alcohol telling I can't figure out yet.
Still waiting for them questions, Erg.
Come on,
Corbin
people.
asks, IB Corbin asks.
Coke or Pepsi? Either. I don't drink soda.
Bowl!
Boom!
Shut down!
There's a lot of echo, but I don't care.
Yeah, whose echo is that? Everybody put on headphones or something.
It might be Zedrin, but oh well.
The lazy brony
Whatever you do.
asks, have you ever slowly closed...
Actually, Lazy Brony, I have a, at my house we have a fridge with a door in it, where I can keep the door open and I can close the fridge to see if the light will go off or not. So there. And I can confirm that it does go off.
That is the greatest thing ever.
Right.
I want a second door to my fridge so I can see it go off.
Alright, here's actually a good question. What do I do to shape my fixtures? I actually have a huge collection of different methods that I might use, and combining these methods is basically how I kind of change my style. I have kind of 6 different styles that I kind of use regularly. The one I'm most fond of using is I'll do a color layer on the base, like underneath the line art, and then above that I will do a multiply layer with like tinted shadows and then white for the highlights, and then above that I will do like an overlay layer to add in some soft lighting. I can also use just purely an overlay layer. I can also use, I can actually do the image in grayscale and then I do a color overlay over it where I do color blending, or I can set that to luminosity and set that above the color layer instead. So, and then my personal favorite that I don't use that much anymore though is gradient maps, which basically it will take the low value, like the dark values on your image, and replace them with whatever tint you have on the gradient, and then likewise it will also do the same thing for the light gradient, for the light side on the light side of the gradient and such.
So Image 18 asks, how long does it take you to draw a comic for any of your Ask blogs?
I try to keep it down to about like 20 minutes per panel. So as a result, my updates, I sometimes spend about 2 days on them. When it comes to like animated GIFs, which yes, it is pronounced GIFs. This is scientifically factual.
Damn.
When it comes to GIFs,
Told ya. Boom.
No.
No, it's actually pronounced gaffs.
whatever.
Oh,
But anyway,
yes.
GIFs they can take up to an hour each. Like if you saw on the recent update of Dream Warden, I have a little animation of Luna drawing her sword and like the cross tree flips forward. That took me a while to do, and that was annoying because Photoshop is really annoying when it comes to skews and stuff and transforms.
Okay.
I I actually do sometimes use Flash to make my GIFs, which, if you've seen the animation of Octavia and Vinyl shooting a Thompson and dual Berettas, or dual 1911s, that was done entirely in Flash.
Okay.
99% in Flash.
So, IB Corbin asks again, what are some of your favorite Tumblr Ask blogs?
Favorite? It kind of changes weekly. I really am I'm friends with Earthilio, and I really like his blog, Ask Octavia. It's actually a really long-running Ask blog. Also, kind of, to be honest, it's like it doesn't feel like blogs have really updated it as much as they used to anymore. But I was a really big fan of Moonstuck when it was active. Moonstuck was freaking huge to me.
It's a really good.
Yeah,
blog.
it's over. I remember. I remember watching it end, and I was disappointed.
But anyway,
It's
Spectre,
like, what is my life?
Spectre asks, what art program do you use?
I use predominantly Photoshop CS6. When it comes to animation, I use Flash CS6, and then when it comes to production, like the whole 9 yards, everything I use in production is Photoshop, Flash, After Effects, Premiere, Audition, Audacity, and Illustrator.
Industry standard.
Okay. Sanctuary asks, would you be willing to see your style of characters and your OC sprited for the general use of the public fandom?
Fandom.
I wouldn't mind seeing my style branch out, but I don't really see anything really special in my style. I mean, it's not a heavy stylization. It's kind of more of a common. I kind of feel my style is a little more common at the moment.
Okay.
Well, I've seen a lot of your work, and you kind of go over the top with like details in some of your work, like, especially in your League of Legends pictures. They're like very over the top, very highly detailed, and that's very respectable within the art world. But a lot of people, well, especially on Tumblr, they kind of prefer like the simplistic art style. But I don't know.
As I said, I kind of have like 6 or 7 different art styles that I use. So it's kind of as far as which style would spread to the fandom, I really can't say like would I like to see my style spread, because I have so many different styles. I don't feel as attached to any single style and such.
All right.
So really, the only thing I can assume is like an anatomic style, maybe. Which
I kind of like when I was starting my blog, I was experimenting with different styles, and there was a point that I actually have at a time 7 different styles. I'm not joking. I actually had 7 different styles, and I kind of burned out, and I kind of end up with 3 right now.
Sin, you're kind of cutting out a bit.
It says island internet. It's 2 megabyte internet.
But anyway, Image 18 asks again.
Next.
I know that you're not a big fan of frame-by-frame animation, but would you consider yourself qualified to do critiques on them?
Oh yeah, definitely. I mean, a lot of the artists who I learned from, they predominantly focus on frame by frame. A few of my friends, Alpha and Sabuki, they both are frame by frame animators themselves, and we critique each other all the time. So,
okay.
Animation principles are animation principles. I mean, just because you can tween something doesn't necessarily mean that it's any different.
Okay. So Mana Burst asks, is it difficult dealing with all the Ask blogs you get on your Ask blog? Or asks you get on your Ask blog? Sorry.
Wow.
Ask blocks? You getting your ass blocks? Section?
I get a lot of questions. In fact, let me do a quick count. The hard part is that when you screen cap a question for use in a blog, it doesn't delete it from your inbox, so you have to go back and do that later on. So if you're using a lot of questions for an update, you have to go through and find them all again and clear them out. Luna is currently up to 134 questions, of which I'd say about 15 of them I need to delete. Mafia Octavia still has 50 leftover questions from December that I need to clear out. I started up again.
Okay. What do you like? Image 18 asks again. What do you usually look
always
for
asks.
in a story-based Ask blog?
I'm a fan of adventure, so like actually a few other blogs that I like. If you've heard of the blog Moonfall, it doesn't update often, but it has really, really beautiful artwork, and it's kind of like an origin story for Celestia and Luna. That one's an adventure blog. I've seen Captain Luna is really good. It seems really dramatic. There's really not a lot of story-based Ask blogs out there, or at least ones with overarching stories.
I think one that was really popular at the time was Pregnant Scootaloo has like a really huge overarching story. It's like 9 months. It was pure 9 months of story.
Yeah. On the note of Pregnant Scootaloo, just for the record for the chat, it's not anything bad or fetishy. Pregnant Scootaloo, it's almost like, it's kind of like Juno turned into ponies, if you've seen the movie Juno. It's, I don't follow it myself, but it's clean. You wouldn't have to worry about it. So if you want to take a look and you want an interesting story, it's kind of like teenage Scootaloo. She got knocked up and she winds up having a kid, and then she doesn't want to get rid of the kid.
Actually,
like that.
Yeah, you are pretty much right.
Actually, never made that connection to Juno. I never realized it. But Spectre. Oh.
Spectre. Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Spectre asked, any suggestions for getting an Ask blog started?
First thing you want to do is make sure your concept is stable. Like, if you're doing an OC Ask blog, you're going to want to make sure that your character is interesting. I've seen a lot of people that are like, oh, I'm going to make an OC Ask blog and I'm going to be so popular, and their first post is like, hi, ask me questions. It's like, why would I want to ask you questions? You haven't even introduced yourself yet. Some Ask blogs that are pretty well done is like, that are OC blogs that are pretty well done is like Ask Frigid Drift and Ask Spirit. Spirit is about a Pegasus that basically was a former Wonderbolt and lost her wing. Right off the bat is something that's different. Frigid, more of a Q-based Ask blog, but Paul has the advantage of being able to hybridize Flash and Psy art. So basically, if you want a lot of GIFs and a lot of cute images, basically Frigid kind of caters to that, for instance. And also a lot of silly random humor. You want to make sure that your character has personality, basically. In regards to canon-based when it comes to canon Ask blogs, you want to make sure that you're not doing something that everybody else has seen before. Like, honestly, if you want to that's honestly all I really have to say about that. Like, for instance, a few concepts that have worked out well. There was like Philly Twilight, which is Twilight, but she's been turned into a Philly. That's automatically something that's a little bit different. There's Pirate Dash, which is a funny concept in of itself. Pirate Dash with a really bad pirate impression, or Rainbow Dash with a bad pirate impression. There's Flutter Guy, which is a parody of the whole Flutter Guy trope that came about and just ran with it. Now he's like this freaking badass, etc.
He's a guy that
Everything
go up
that
against
Fluttershy's
Hot-Blooded.
not.
That's a guy that goes up against Hot-Blooded, and it's going to be a good fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish I was an artist because I'd be.
Newsy.
I wish I could draw really well because I personally have an idea for a mod blog that I just can't do it. Pretty much based off my OC and just how my character is for the show. Only for the show, really. But other than that, what you gonna do when you don't have a tablet and you have suck at drawing?
When you have suck at drawing, what?
When you suck at drawing, I said.
Whoa there. Yeah, I guess it's kind of like a really big. Yeah, I guess it's one of the bigger problems when it comes like to people who are starting Ask blogs, like, and making a character. I think I'm just gonna give you a little advice here. When you're gonna make a character, a good exercise would be kind of make a short biography of him. Things that he likes, things he doesn't like, where he's from. That could be really important. I mean, what if it's like a pony from another country? That's like, that's something different.
On that note, actually, a lot of people, their OC creation stops at the appearance. They make an interesting appearance or something they think is an interesting appearance, and then they're done with it. They don't go into where the character comes from or anything but personality, which is really like 80% of the character.
I think it should be 90% of the character.
If you're going to make an OC, make sure that they have a personality, because that is way more important than their appearance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's kind of like dating.
You can actually look up the design first. Yeah, it is like kind of dating.
you see the appearance, and that's what draws you in. But the personality is what makes you stay.
Yeah, you gotta make something that looks attractive, and it's something that looks attractive, and also something you want to take home and show your parents.
Then she takes off her pants, and then you find out it's a guy, and then you're like, oh crap.
You just had to go that way, didn't you?
Actually, on that note, there is a blog called Ask Rare Trap, which is about dating stuff.
Oh no!
That's the best name for it.
Oh, we're deserving a review now. I want to go follow that. That sounds awesome.
Oh,
that's actually the best.
That
the
sounds like a
perfect
good
name.
time.
So,
Rare Trap.
So the next question, IB Corbin asks, what makes the best sandwich?
You need to have some kind of meat and some kind of cheese. I personally love tuna. Tuna is delicious.
Fish.
I prefer ham.
Tuna sandwich with American cheese, mayo, honey mustard, spinach and lettuce on a honey oat bun. It's delicious. Love it.
What about Canadian cheese?
There's no Canadian cheese.
Shifty eyes.
There is no such thing. There's no Canadian cows. There is no such thing as cows in
Well, they
Canada.
use
What are you
moose.
talking
They
about?
use moose milk.
Moose milk.
But I love how random we are. No one cares besides us.
Hannah Mava asks, can I touch your butt?
Yeah, of
Only
course,
Hannah
bro.
can touch my butt.
Okay. So,
By the way, everybody, I have to just brag for a little bit here. Hannah's my girlfriend, actually, and she's our voice actress for Luna. So basically, I can say this, and none of you can. I'm basically dating Luna. So screw all you.
Damn it! I quit.
Okay, you're kind of. Here's something I want to ask you, Zedrin. I don't know, but through the whole show, you kind of hinted that Luna is your favorite pony. Correct me if I'm wrong.
No, where would you get that absurd idea? Of course, Luna is my favorite pony. Yes, Luna's my favorite. Second favorite would be Octavia. Third favorite would be Twilight, and then fourth favorite would be Fluttershy,
Damn it.
and then Applejack.
Everybody hating on Pinkie.
Keep hitting on Pinkie.
Don't hate on my Pinkie.
okay, now the
Oh,
chat's
well.
going really fast.
Whoa, too
I
fast.
can't keep up.
It's gotta go
You
fast.
guys are asking way too fast.
You're going fast.
Wait, so,
Like somebody else.
Mara Sims asks, have you ever been asked to make a movie about a Griffin Alicorn
Okay,
OC?
okay. She's another SFSer. We recently got a request from somebody on my DA. She wanted us, like, first off, we get a lot of stupid ideas coming through. I'm part of I'm known as a series of informal animators, which is like me, Pony8er, a few others, Sabuki, Dialix, etc. And all of us get like these just retarded requests for help on projects and such, and it's like people constantly try to send them their OC fan. I've gotten a collection of missions where people are like, hey, would you be willing to animate this for me? I'll give you credit. It's like, damn right you give me credit if I animated this piece of crap. But it's like, the recent one that I got was like, it was where Luna and Celestia basically got knocked up by the same griffin, and they both had kids.
Oh God.
And their kids were part griffin and part pony, and they would basically wind up inheriting the sun and the moon. And it's like, why would we make an animation off? And the one thing that annoys me the most is the person who came forward with this idea was acting like I was going to just want to animate this.
Oh, really?
Like,
You so want to
like-
animate this piece of shit. Come on. Come
It's
on.
like they
dare you.
think- I don't understand why. Yeah, the griffin
It
was black and
sounds
red.
so shitty.
Yeah.
He was black and red?
It's like, yeah, the griffin was black and red as well. And literally, the
Bad
person in their description, they said that the daughter of Luna was basically her. It was her personal OC. And it's like,
Oh,
why would I animate this? Why? What?
Unless
What do you think that I am smoking right now?
You think I'm...
When did
PCP?
when this ever became a good idea? Where's your thought process? Seriously, where is your thought process?
I can't get
There's
high
been-
enough to animate this.
There's been other cases that haven't been that bad. The ones that really kind of annoy me, I've seen one person try to get me on board with like a StarCraft MLP crossover, which in of itself it doesn't sound like that bad of an idea, but he wanted it to be a 3-hour movie. And he wanted this to be a paid job as well.
Oh, shit.
And he was trying to start up a Kickstarter for it. Despite the fact that there's a whole bunch of legal implications with that, he wouldn't be able to raise up enough money to hire a single animator to do this.
Yeah.
3 hours.
I mean, for perspective, 1 week of animation can equate to about 30 seconds of
No.
1 week of work is usually about 30 seconds of detailed animation if you're working off and on.
He must think it's like magical or something when they can make something that fast.
So if you want to make a
can't be
3-hour
anything.
movie, that's like 180 minutes. That's going to be about a whole year of work for one person, and that's insane.
Seriously, even 2 hours, 2-hour movies fully animated takes years to make, years, when in a huge amount of talent to pull. I mean, people don't understand how insanely difficult it is to make an 8-minute animation. 8-minute animation for one person.
As I said, it gets exponentially harder. The longer it is, the more difficult it gets. It's not proportional. It's exponential.
I mean,
the one thing I think
that
really irritates
insanely good animation that Nick showed us the other day. It's called The Reward.
I think really what irritates me the most about these requests for animations that I get isn't so much that the ideas are bad or that they're lying about having like Hasbro funding or etc. It's more the fact that they think that I'm going to abandon what my team has worked on and what my team has written and refined to do this. Mm-hmm. It's like the people who I work with, they've put forethought into what the scripts look like and how they can be feasible for animation. An idea and a script are two completely different things. A script is something that's viable to animate, something that's cut down to where it's not going to be excessively long, to where it makes sense, to where it's something that you can visualize instead of just think about.
Okay. So one more question before we kind of end this. Manaburst asks if you should. You said that you should just draw if you want practice. So what kind of do you have any recommendations for someone who doesn't have a lot of resources for pricier things like tablets?
Just get a sketchbook and just start going at it. Like, just draw whenever you can. Just keep practicing. Look at references online and talk to people and get feedback. If you can take a picture or scan, which is even better, if you can scan your works in, you can get feedback there. I'd recommend saving up for a tablet. You can actually get a cheap one, like mono price, for like $20. I'm going to type that in, that way you can write that down. Mono price tablets, they're pretty cheap actually and decent sized. There's also Wacom if you want to get started with digital art, but really all it is drawing is just drawing.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. As far as it goes down.
Yeah, drawing is drawing.
Like whatever you can draw.
I think
just draw it.
I think for good quality and reasonable price, the bamboo tablets are pretty good.
Bamboo tablets are decent, but they're a little bit more expensive. If you're on a budget, they're mono price. Mono prices are really cheap. Like, because they're not as well known, they're insanely cheap. Like, you can get a $20 tablet that's bigger than the $80 tablet you could get from Bamboo. Personally, I'm actually using a Wacom Intuos 4, which is still by the same company that makes the Bamboo, but that's a professional size tablet. It's not
if you want to go really insane, like Vintage, which are like those huge ones with the monitors.
Yeah, I don't have a Cintiq. I actually don't have any interest in getting a Cintiq, to be honest. Like, all my friends, they say they're like the most amazing thing ever, but I'm completely satisfied with my Intuos.
Yeah,
I really like Intuos.
I mean,
like my school uses it, and I actually recently invested in one over the summer. It's a really nice one. I think that's about time.
Yeah.
About time
You guys
to
think
end
it's time, or if there's any other questions you guys have?
Can't really think of anything.
No, I guess we're done. Yeah, we're pretty much that's all. Let's just wrap it up and complain and argue in the after show.
So
That sounds good because that's all we do. So
actually,
be
wait.
sure this has been the what?
Hold up. There's one more question in the chat. Hannah May
Son of a
VA asks.
Yes, Hannah. Meet me at my place after dinner.
And
I can't even answer that.
I feel like making
That's how fast I am.
And
I read
with
that
that,
question
we're
really
about to
fast.
promo the shit
You
out
better
of
bring
this.
the sandwiches, Hannah. I'm still waiting. You said you'd bring a sandwich back at Analog Gardens, and you never brought sandwiches.
Girl, you better bring some sandwiches. Okay,
Thanks, Zedrin, for
time to promote
joining us.
ourselves again. So yes.
So we're not even gonna thank Zedrin for coming on first.
No, I
shows
was
are-
getting to that. Damn it! There's a reason why I'm the host and you are a peon. So shush.
Peon.
Cinnamon's is higher up on the peon list. So I would like to thank Zedrin for coming on. It's been really fun.
Zedrin. Hello.
What are we talking about?
I hope we're talking about ponies, because otherwise I would be extremely disappointed.
Oh my god.
What?
Get off.
What's your...
Woman, get off the stream.
Wow, that's just rude. But anyway, we're just ending.
I'm
it now.
higher up in Cinnamon.
Okay. So,
Yeah, thanks for being on. It's been very informative and I loved it. Open my eyes. Okay. Before I totally derail this entire show with my drunkenness of it, I would like to, if you're more interested in seeing the CloudsDale Cafe, go hit us up on our Tumblr, which is cloudsdalecafe@tumblr.com. We also have Twitter. We got Twitter. Cinnamon, you're in charge of that. You updated it anymore? When was the last time you updated it?
I think Cinnamon just dropped it.
Me and you, Nick, the only ones.
Damn, Cinnamon, you had one job.
I know, right? You bastard.
Time to stand up and replace him.
And then
Okay.
he fell to his death.
And as we try to end the show before everybody starts killing each other and has a massive, just everything. So, give us a follow. We like followers. Go check us out on YouTube. CloudsDale Cafe at youtube.com. Check us out. We got all our other episodes because this is episode, what, 21?
Around that.
Something like that. Yeah, it's something like that.
I'm just gonna call
We've
it
been
episode
doing this
100.
long enough not to know what's going on anymore in the world. Cinnamon has dropped, and he has left the building. So good night. We love y'all. Be sexy out there, and we are the CloudsDale Cafe. Signing off for tonight.
Take care, guys.
Funny.
Money, money.